Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters and everyone else. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do a rehouse of my small Vitalitus Chromatus, formerly known as Chromatus. And this is the species that we are talking about. As you can see, this is the enclosure that I'm currently keeping the spider in. This is just a normal smoothie cup that I ordered online, plenty of those. I like to keep smaller species in those because they usually love digging, and as you can see they have a lot of substrate to work with. Before that, I don't know, she doesn't have it now anymore, but when she was a bit smaller, she had her hole all the way to the bottom. But now that she grew a little bit older, maybe it is too small and too tight down here, and this is why we are going to rehouse her today. So, and what are we gonna need? This is going to be the new enclosure that we're gonna house the spider in. As you can see, it's not an enclosure, it's actually just a cheap storage box that you can buy in any hardware store. In a lot of stores you can buy those for just a few bucks. They're not really something for the eye, for yourself, but the spider won't really care in which enclosure you put her in, as long as she has enough space and there is a good airflow in there and she has her food and everything, then the spider is perfectly fine. So and I'm not paying a lot of money for an enclosure that the spider will eventually also grow out of. But I can show you an example for a more expensive enclosure. If you want to spend a little bit more money on and have something for the eye, and you have something to show for when you have people over and you want to show them your tarantulas, then you could take something from here. This is obviously not sponsored. I won't say the name of the company, but you will find those online quite a lot. And the good thing about those is that you can open them through the front, and also you can lift up the mesh here on the top. It's nice for the eye, but yeah, they cost way more. So if you have a lot of species, that can be very expensive really fast. And trust me when I say this, when you start getting into the tarantula hobby, it is only a matter of time until you get more and more species, because that's just how the nature of it, and since they are usually quite easy to care of. But let's get back to the enclosure. So what is important, since this has basically nothing, it's just a lid and the box. What we want to do with this is to provide a good airflow. How we achieve this, I already started here a little bit. We're going to drill holes into the top, and then we will also drill holes into the sides, maybe a bit on the shorter sides as well, on both sides. And that will guarantee that there is a lot of air going through, that the old air comes out and new air comes in. And the reason for it, why we want a good airflow, is because those species, especially this one that we have right here, is originated from Brazil, which has a quite warm but humid weather. And so we want to try to have that in that enclosure as well. But if you would have that without a good airflow, then you would have a lot of mold growing in it. So to prevent that and to let the moist air, the humid air out as well, and have fresh air coming in, we want to have that good airflow. Now I said airflow more than enough. Now you can move on to what we actually put into the enclosure. And for a substrate, I like to use, I don't know if you can see it, it's not that interesting actually, it is just cocoa fiber. You can buy those in bricks, like compressed bricks that you have to add water to, and then they foam kind of up and get a lot of volume to them. So this is what we're gonna add as a substrate. We can add also normal soil to it, some leaf letters, people like to use it, or some sand. Give it a little bit of texture apparently, as some other YouTubers might say. What we have otherwise is this some sphagnum moss. We can add that. The benefit of it is that it keeps the moisture, it soaks up the moisture and keeps the moisture there, and it also has antibacterial properties which help to not get anything nasty basically in here. Then what we like to use for the enclosure is some cork bark that I've already prepared here. These are 3. I'm not sure if we're going to use all 3, might be a little bit too much. The benefit of those is they cannot mold. And the second thing is that it's good to start them as a burrow. So you can put them in the substrate and dig them a little hole, and the spider likes to already use that. They are opportunists, so they take advantage. It's less work for them, and we can basically dictate a little bit where the spider is gonna have its home. Then other than that, this is from a previous enclosure. It's still a little bit dirty, but I'm sure the spider won't mind. So this is just a fake plant, plastic plant, just a little bit to make it look a little bit nicer. Otherwise it doesn't have any benefits to it. Now let's get back to our favorite word, and that is the airflow, and let's get it done here. So a little bit of DIY. And this is how I like to do it. I'm having this little hand drill here and just the screw. And what I like to do is just use the screw to drill a hole into the box, into the lid, and then pull it back out, and we have another hole. Very good. And just we're gonna do this. This takes like 10 to 20 minutes depending on the box. And then you have your tarantula enclosure ready to be inhabited. Okay, the holes have been drilled in, and then we can start by adding the substrate. This might be a bit too much. We'll see. If this is too much, then we'll have to get it out again. As you see, this is how it usually comes. It's like a Yeah, it's like in a brick form. This hasn't been dissolved. We might add some water to it. Okay. So, just adding a little bit of moisture to the substrate. So what we're gonna use, we'll try just maybe this cork bark here, and we're gonna try to fit that in. I don't know how much you can see it. So I'm going to fit that in here and make a little bit of a dent. So as you can see, this is basically what I like to do as a start. And then what we add, maybe we use like a bigger cork bark and we put it here in the corner. And we do it like this. So that doesn't look too bad for now. We're just gonna see if we can fit. Maybe we'll leave it out, or we move this a bit to the side here. Have this in. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I think this is quite nice. Even though the spider won't really... I might leave this out. I think I'll leave it out. This is better. We still can have it a little bit to the side, but I want a bit more surface area for the spider. And then we're gonna add some moss. Put something here on the corners, general here on the top. Okay, we're gonna put this all here to the side. I'm gonna show you the end result when it's done, I hope, because I'm not sure how good you can see it right now. So this is basically the top of the enclosure. This is how it looks at the moment. So we have a little cork bark here. Maybe she can even hide in the corner here, or she can start her burrow where this cork bark is, and then we have the substrate, the moss on top of that. I like to use those bottle caps for smaller species as a water dish, but with the new ones you cannot just remove them, you need to actually cut them away. And here, that's what I think of it. And we're just gonna put that in the corner. We can add already a little bit of water in it. Doesn't matter if it spills, we want some moisture anyway. So I'm gonna add some water to the moss. So should be enough, inshallah. And then, oh man, that's heavy. We have this for our little hamster here. Maybe there will be a video about the hamster in the future as well. We just have a little bit of sand that we're gonna add to the enclosure. So it's very, very fine sand for the bath things. So now it looks like it has mold already. Now it looks a little bit as if it has mold already, but that's fine. I'm sure the spider will not mind. So now we make a little bit of space before we move the tarantula. So now we have made it clean again, so we can work with and getting the spider from the old enclosure into the new one. And for that we're also going to use basically what is her enclosure, and I'm going to use that as a catch cup in case I need it if the spider bolts out. I have something to put over it so it doesn't get away. And additionally to that, what I'm using mostly as a tool to move the spider is a little brush. It's very soft, it won't disturb the spider too much, and even if it goes for the tip, it won't hurt the spider if it bites on it or something like this. Okay, so let's have some fun. Let's see in which kind of mood she is. Let's come from the front. Okay, I think she does not want to come out. All I'm trying to do here is push the spider with the brush a little bit, try to get behind the spider and get her to move out without hurting her or putting too much pressure on her. And here we have some beautiful shots and a bit of a close-up on the spider, so you can have a nice look and see. She is still in a juvenile state, but you can already see the adult coloration coming out and those white stripes on the legs. I think it's a very adorable spider, and I get that people are afraid of them because they can be quite fast and bolty, and trust me, we'll see some of that very soon. But yeah, I think they are very beautiful creatures, and yeah, I think they're really fascinating to watch and to look at. So I hope you enjoy the close-ups. We got the spider out of her old enclosure now, and we have put it on the table, and I only did that to show you guys the spider a little bit better. I'm trying to keep it as stress-free as I can for the species, and I've never handled her before, but what I want to do now is take her on the hand and put her into the new enclosure. And I'm not saying that I'm not going to advocate for handling your tarantulas. Like I said, I have never handled this species before, and I think I can count on my hand how many times I've handled one of my tarantulas. So I don't do that just for fun. I'm just doing this now for an educational purpose to show you, maybe as someone who doesn't have spiders or maybe is afraid of them, that they are really nothing to be afraid of, that they are not aggressive animals, that they are either defensive, and then yes, you should also stay away from them because they have ways to defend themselves. Like this one is a New World tarantula, which usually means that their venom is not really potent. However, maybe you see it on the close-up that they have quite long hairs on their abdomen, and they can shoot them, and they are urticating hairs. That means that if they can get in your skin, they itch for quite a long time, but the most severe problems can occur if you either breathe them in or you get them in your eyes or in your nose in the general or in your mouth. This will hurt quite a bit. So when you know that the spider is in a defensive mood, you should back. You shouldn't do anything with it. But for now, the spider is very calm. I got it out of the enclosure, as you probably seen in the video. And yeah, we're just gonna put her on the hand now. First, what I like to do when I interact with the species, I first touch her softly with the brush, and that already tells you a lot how the mood of the spider is. So, for example, if she'd had a feeding response, which she wouldn't have now because she's out of her enclosure, usually then there's no feeding response, but this can happen if you poke her in the enclosure. It might be that the feeding response kicks in and she turns around and goes for the brush that you have. So don't do that with your finger, that's for sure. Out of the enclosure, there shouldn't be a feeding response, nor should there be a defensive response. They are also rather defensive when they are in their own territory. Now, this is completely new to them. This I assume that the spider will be quite calm, and if I move her around, she will move slowly in one direction. If, however, she bolts, I will have the catch cup here to catch her. So we'll start by touching her a little bit in the front. So you can see the spider is completely dormant and she's just moving a little bit to the side. Now I'm going to put my hand here and I'm going to see what she will do when she touches my hand. Usually, probably I assume that she does not want to go on my hand because they can feel with their sensors that what they are crawling on is something that is alive and they don't want that. So usually spiders don't like to go on your hands, but we'll see. You see, she touches my, but she doesn't want to go on it. Oh, maybe. No, rather not. Rather not. Oh. Okay, as we can demonstrate it now, they're not aggressive. They don't want to do anything with you. They don't want anything to do with you. They would rather avoid you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put her into...
She's going to come back out, put her in there.
Whew, that scared me quite a bit, I have to be honest. Okay, that was a little bit of shock. So now we're just going to put her in here, and she's probably going to come bolting out now. Just now she's a little bit more on the edge. Yeah, so, no, come on. There you go. All right, that was it. Never mind, that was not it. We come back in. Come on, just go up there. Just go up there. Very good, very good. So maybe we'll just put the lid on. She can go in there to hide. And we're gonna put the lid on, and I think this was enough stress for the spider and enough for my wife and for myself. So yeah, that was it. That was the rehouse. She is now in the new enclosure, and I would just say I'll give you an update in a few days and we will see what the spider has done in the enclosure, where the spider decides to live. I don't expect her to be and stay there. I assume that she will eventually roam around, and then she'll find the burrow and she's gonna burrow there, inshallah. But we're gonna see that. For now, this was it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Jazakallahu khairan for watching. If you like it, if you want to tell me something, feel free to leave a comment in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, I would be very happy if you like what you saw, that you subscribe to the channel and help me support and grow. And yeah, otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, assalamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.